What's up, everybody? It's your boys coming at you again. Garcil, Mark, and me, Jose, coming at you again with another Zaku Talku Podcast. Today we're talking about part 3 of our Zeta Gundam watch through. And, this part definitely had a lot of mixed feelings. Take us away, Mark.
So last time we had left off with the Ayug averting a colony drop onto the moon city of Granada, and in this part we arrived still in space, just after that conflict had occurred. And Jose was right in bringing up how we had conflicting feelings about this first half of these episodes because
Literally
a
first
lot of was that
literally first half.
yeah, exactly, like halfway through what we watched, which was 26 through 37.
Yes.
And there's just how I felt about it was that there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of character development, but it was so convoluted and quick that a lot of that stuff kind of fell to the wayside of the fact that it was kind of really hard for me to focus on one thing at a time. We bounced between several characters, Kotz, Rekawa, Fa, even Camille, and Yazan.
New character, by the way.
Yeah, a new character for this part, a new antagonist. But it was just kind of hard to keep up with, honestly. I don't know if you guys felt the same way.
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah. So what did you think? What did you think about it? Like,
well, it was nice seeing Kotz play a bigger role in helping out the rest of the crew, especially during more life or death situations.
Yeah, I'll agree on that. Kotz got a little more bearable. I know we railed on him really hard last episode, but in this one, you do see him kind of turn a little more towards listening and following directions instead of just doing whatever he wants, like he was in the last part. You do see it a little bit at the beginning because he does jump into a new prototype device, the G Defensor, which attaches to the Mark II, which I thought was pretty cool. But after that, he's listening, he's taking direction. Emma seems to be another like older sister figure to him as she was to Camille.
She is not as harsh to him as she was to Camille.
No, definitely not. But speaking of the G Defensor, what did you guys think of that attachment to the Mark II?
No, I thought it was really cool. I like the part where the pilot does not have to stay with the mobile suit and be in the line of danger. They can just equip it and then get out.
Was it?
Overall, I liked that they added to it. The Mark II being the successor to the original RX-78 was, having it be the successor. I like that they keep it up to date, that they have given it the firepower to be able to still compete with things like similar to like the Zeta Gundam and other things like the Titans Gundam or the Titans mobile suits, and it keeps Emma relevant, and I like that. It keeps her combat relevant, and I really like that, and I appreciate that story wise, and I appreciate that in terms of the history of that mobile suit.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much I think what we all agree on, that the G Defensor is a good addition to the show. Without introducing all these crazy mobile suits, they can just add the one little feature to keep an older suit updated, which is cool.
And it is definitely good that she's getting more firepower, especially now that there are a bunch of new mobile armors showing up that are pretty much getting the better of Camille and the Zeta.
Yeah. And speaking about Camille, he's another character that receives a lot of attention. Of course, he's the main character, but he seems to be, to me, I don't know, this is my thought, that he is progressing as a character in terms of his personality and how he's thinking and what he's concerned about, how he treats other characters, but at the same time regressing as a pilot because he is saved multiple times throughout this first half in situations that you would think that he would be able to get out of, especially with an upgraded suit like the Zeta. He's about to die, I think, like 3 times during this little arc, but he gets saved by Kotz one time.
He gets saved by
Emma and Rekawa. Yeah. And it's just kind of crazy to me that he's being defeated like this over and over again.
Especially so soon after it's the Zeta's debut in the last part. It's only been like, what, 4 episodes and it's already kind of getting mollywopped?
Yeah, and it's also interesting because some of them are even like one-on-one, which, I mean, I could understand when he's getting attacked by multiple foes, but a one-on-one, you'd think that he would stand a little more of a chance.
Wait, hold
but
up.
what?
They continuously get the best of
Doesn't Camille only have one-on-one? I thought his only one-on-one was against Yazan.
No,
Yazan.
he fights Yazan, and he also fights Jared one-on-one.
Then isn't that the only times? Because then the other time he fights Jared is he's more focused on 4. Then the other time he fights Jared, he's fighting him and Mawa, and then he fights Yazan's trio. I'm gonna be real. His little hobby with Fa was it got kind of annoying for the first few episodes.
Yeah, especially since he kind of had that interaction with 4 in the last part. Goes up to space, and he's already in a fling with Fa. But they do fight a lot. Like you mentioned, their hobby is fighting.
What happens so often, the crew on the Argama just pretty much refer to it as that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I thought it was funny. I thought most of it was funny, and I thought about Camille himself. I share a lot of your same opinions in terms of he's getting worse as a pilot, or the circumstances are just getting a lot worse for him, and he's not being shown in a particularly good light. But also, I think that his character is progressing in a lot of little ways, and a lot of the character interactions that he has with Fa, like that whole thing about their hobby and their fighting, I think it's silly. I think it's kind of funny. I think it adds a little bit of maybe I want to say charm to their dynamic, but at the same time, I understand that you guys would get tired of it, or anybody would get tired of it, just because it's it's very repetitive with the how often it happens. But other little things that I like about Camille are just like how he's growing out of his old exterior, in that he was just very centered on thinking, like focusing on what he wants and all that kind of stuff, and what he thinks about things. And he's letting his eyes drift. He's catching a glance at Fa, like after she just got out of the shower, and it's silly. It's one of those little things that I feel like he's letting his more humanistic side and his young man out of him. And it's just showing, and just little things like that I appreciate. But yeah.
So, picking back up with what you said about Camille, that he's kind of becoming a different person, that might, like, in character-wise, he's growing up. And that might be reflective in his fighting style, because, I don't know, it kind of seemed like he was holding back a little more. He didn't want to kill people. He mentions to Emma that what he's focusing more on the people he's hurt. And I think that's showing in how he's fighting, because the only time he ever really just totally demolishes someone, he's really mad at Jared, and he just destroys him, really without any hesitation at all, and kind of shows him up so much so that it doesn't seem like Jared even stands a chance against him. And that's the character we were seeing before, the rage-filled Camille, who was beating everybody. But now that he's calmed down, his fighting style is also a little calmer. I think he's thinking about those things, or he's supposed to be thinking about those things. That might be why.
He's no longer by default bloodlusted Camille.
Oh, he hasn't thrown hands in a while.
Yeah, he starts throwing feet a lot more.
A more defensive action. And another character we see is Rekawa a lot more this time around. We saw her very limited amounts of time in the last couple watch throughs, and seeing her this time, I don't know, how did it make you guys feel about her character, seeing what they showed us this time around?
Well, when we first met Rekawa, she gave off kind of like the Matilda vibe from Mobile Suit Gundam. It was this older woman that knew the new battle and was like prepared for things. She was always in control, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But these last few episodes have kind of shown a different light on her. We do learn her backstory about how her family died, her friends have died, and she's at this point it seems like she's just kind of wanting to die herself. So that's why she's going on these dangerous missions.
Yeah, she goes on several dangerous missions this time around, and Camille points it out every time that it's just odd, and why is she doing this? Why are you trying to die? Are you trying to put yourself in danger on purpose? This is like a thrill-seeking thing. And Fa's there to try and be like, oh, she's just a woman, just something she wants to do and she needs to do. But Camille does not see it that way, and I mean, I as a viewer didn't see it that way. I saw her trying to get herself into some sort of trouble and cause harm to herself. But the first mission she goes on, she's in like Paptimus's ship. It seems to have put some sort of influence on her.
Or Jose, what do you think about Rekawa?
All right. Well, what I thought about Rekka was she sucked. Like, if I had to summarize it, she fucking sucked. I did not like her character throughout this time. I feel like I was led astray. I was promised one certain thing by a certain impression that she gave off during the previous parts, and to be led to this really fucking sucks. I feel betrayed. Her character is just unlikable. She's just a tard. Um, what are the redeeming factors about her? Basically, she's willing to get killed. No, that's not even redeeming because she's willing to drag everybody else with her down, and I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. She came off as some kind of cool character at the beginning or when she was introduced. I thought that she would be mature, that she would be calm and collected, that she'd be a badass female character. And then what happens? She's like leading herself into suicide missions consistently over and over and over again on the quest to just destroy herself, and she's just very disappointing as a character, honestly. She just is unlikable for multiple reasons. She's just always snappy at everybody when they're trying to be grateful to her, when they're trying to be kind to her, when they're trying to be concerned about her and show some kind of feeling towards her or some kind of affection or anything towards her. She always has to snap back at them. She always has to snap back at Camille, at Char, at everybody that she pretty much freaking talks to and has interactions with, and she just sucks. She's just unlikable. She's almost as bad as Kotz before, and it's sad. It's really unfortunate. It's really I'm sad that her character took such a steep drop.
Well, that was interesting.
But yeah, I mean, she definitely did regress as a character in my eyes. She gets influenced by a lot of different, and it seems like she might be on like a love quest or something. Because after they rendezvous with Char again, they kind of seem to have some love interaction. But then she jumps over to Paptimus and she's all over him. And then she jumps over to Yazan and is kind of with wanting him too. It's just very odd.
All right, I'm calling it right now. She's like she at the end was supposedly killed off, and then she wasn't actually killed off. She was captured. That's what happened, if I remember correctly, right?
She, during a fight with Yazan, she ejected, and Yazan grabbed her and took her to...
All right, so here's what's going to happen. The next time that we see her in the next parts of the series, she's going to be tortured by Yazan, and she's going to get turned on by it, and she's going to like it, and then she's going to swear her allegiance to this guy, and she's going to go by everything that he says. It's going to be like a Joker and Harley Quinn type of thing, just kind of worse. But she's going to be a slave. She's going to get tortured, and she's going to like it, all right? I'm calling it.
There's a reason I don't watch her stuff.
So
the whole reason I feel she's trying to get close to Paptimus is it's like maybe some type of weird new type influence or something, because she meets him and then he touches her and then she's like then she starts acting weird, and that's when the whole character decline starts happening.
So he corrupted her. He gave her the influence. He gave her a taste of the forbidden stuff, and she liked it. And now she's gonna come back for it.
So one major event that we had in this part was the Titans trying to bomb a hangar in Von Braun City.
Yeah. The AU station there, and the Titans think that it will disrupt them enough, so they decide to bomb it.
Yeah, Paptimus sends in Sarah, who, from a few of the previous episodes, we've seen that her allegiance is towards Paptimus, but it seems somewhat fleeting.
Yeah, she seems like the one who's a little uneasy to do certain things like attack. And when Jared's leading their formation, she's a little more hesitant than the other pilot to do something. And she's also the one that fed the AU information, which, may or may not have been on Paptimus's whim. But she does leave a little speck of her own influence on Potts, who is able to, help them. So, I mean, so far we've seen her, riding the midline, I guess, leaning more towards Paptimus, but also, she might switch.
Well, after she plants the bomb, she meets up with Camille, and then she just she tells Camille that, hey, there's a bomb, get out of here. But Camille's like, oh no, we gotta stop it, and you're coming with me. And she just follows, she just follows. No real hesitation or nothing.
Do you guys find it weird that there in this series, there's a lot of character on character interactions with protagonists, antagonists that do not end up in conflict. Like we see Jared with Camille a lot, who he
Well,
can just kill him right there.
some conflict, but there's conflict, but there's never violence.
Yeah, it's just a little odd to me that they keep having these interactions where people could kill Camille and they don't.
Well,
This is a very serious moment, or a very serious showing of what is known very well throughout animes as plot armor. It is especially prominent in shonens, and yeah, it's Camille's got it hard, man.
But this isn't a shonen.
I know.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
he still has it.
We'll talk about shonens once we get to G Gundam.
I don't even think that's a shonen, but
Oh, it's definitely a shonen.
but anyways, I want to bring up though the Hammurabi, which we see here for the first time, I think, when Sarah lands, which is a cool looking. I always thought it looked kind of like a shark or something.
I thought it looked like a stingray or a starfish.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a cool design. And it's really weird and blue, and it can transform into like a plane. But this is the first time we see it. Just wanted to point that out.
Oh, we'll be seeing a lot more of it, though.
Yeah. So Camille has an interaction with Sarah. He's trying to connect with her. It seems like he's giving her ice cream, kind of taking her out on like a mock date, which pisses off Fa, who is looking for some kids that got lost, but that's neither here nor there. So I don't know. What do you guys think of that interaction with Camille and Sarah? It was really odd. At first, it felt like
go ahead.
I was gonna say I felt like Camille was like seducing her, but then didn't like her, and it was all over the place.
Well, I feel that though in the last part we met 4, and Camille tried to do the exact same thing. So I feel there's some guilt over not being able to get to help 4, so he's trying to do this with Sarah. But other than that, it just feels like a bootleg 4 interaction.
I actually kind of liked it. Like, I don't think it obviously didn't come off as like something very genuine in comparison to his interactions with 4, but I still kind of felt like Camille was doing his best to try to essentially, what's the word for it? Reach out a hand, I guess, to this person that's conflicted with the Titans, and really trying to help someone else out in the ways that he didn't, like you guys said, like he couldn't do that for 4, so he's trying to make up for it. But I think it also correlates back to his growth as a character. He just feels more inclined to want to do things for people like that, and especially in that situation in which they're being used to that extent. So I appreciated it. He keeps it real with her at the very end, and he tells her like, "Hey, if I see you around and we're still enemies, I'm not gonna hesitate to bust you." So I appreciated that he was keeping it real one way, and still trying to be somewhat kind to her. And it was just really hilarious seeing Fa being all jealous.
Yeah, so but is there anything else you wanted to say about this arc besides the...
They do manage to find the bomb, but Camille goofs and just drops it down even further, and it goes off. That was the one thing I was surprised that it actually went off.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by that too. I thought they were gonna have some kind of
hero moment
thing at the end. Yeah, or it was like a mock bomb or something just to test Sarah. That's what I kind of thought it was the whole time. But it was, nope, it went off and exploded the whole
Dude, yeah, you can't underestimate the Titans. We know they're dicks. We know that they're willing to do crap, really shady things, and put innocent people in harm's way at any cost. So,
it was good
just more proof as to how horrible they are.
It was good that Camille, upon learning that there was a bomb, immediately told everybody to evacuate. So there was no actual casualties, and the kids that they were looking for weren't actually in the park; they were in the shower.
Yeah. So just to point out real quick, these kids were brought on board when Char comes on board, and they're kind of played on as comedic relief and as a developmental aid to Fa's character, who seems to be taking more of a motherly, maternal role and taking care of him. But that's what the kids are there for, I think.
She's going the Frabo route, although she's much stricter.
Yeah. So they're trying to kind of pull her away from the mobile suit fighting because she's been pretty bad at that, and and Bright kind of wants her to be more of a caretaker to the kids. But I just thought it'd be good to explain who those kids are and why they're. But that pretty much sums up the first couple episodes that we watched through, first half, and I think that most of our issues with this particular watch through was in those episodes because they were so convoluted and a lot of stuff going on that I mean it was kind of important just to show how ruthless and reckless the Titans are. But ultimately, it was a lot of little incidences that kind of just made it a little hard to watch and keep up with, I would say.
It was just a lot of
Yeah,
small things in a short amount of time.
yeah, it didn't seem very cohesive. It felt pretty scattered. Well, me, that's how it left me. It left me kind of scatterbrained. The only thing that I can say that I appreciated about these episodes were the character interactions, but without the character interactions, I would have completely have zoned out because I don't even remember cohesively what exactly happened. Like, what were the central plot points that were really going to help us progress in terms of the overall story of Zeta? And I just feel like there wasn't too much there, and if it was there, it was in between a lot of stuff. It was like buried underneath a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we probably. Oh, go ahead.
Of all the events that happened prior to the hangar bombing, I cannot recall in what order they actually went.
Yeah, there was just so many things happening, and we probably missed a couple things, but we did.
One thing we missed. Jamaicon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead,
So
by the way.
yeah, so Jamaicon dies. Optimus becomes kind of more of a player in this, and yeah, see, there's just a lot of little things that happen that were kind of minor in terms of what we were grasping onto. And from here on out, though, I think it got really cool.
Oh, definitely. This time around, we meet a new faction that could potentially lead to some more dangerous interactions in the form of the Axis of Xeon.
Yeah, so this is really cool. I think I mentioned in the previous part how Shar just kind of slipped in a little line, one line. It says, I think Haman is out there somewhere with the remnants of Xeon. It was like a very, very short, quick line that was thrown in some random moment, but it comes back now, and I don't know. I was really interested in this. I don't know if you were
It was
gonna say something.
definitely something good to
was
see,
thinking.
like, kind of get capped back into the story. What were they calling them again? They were like, yeah, I know, it's just Axis, and I kind of forgot about that because they were just calling them Axis, and I was like, yeah, they're like, they're like the little leftovers of Xeon, and
Yeah, so
it was cool.
Can I say something
Okay.
odd?
Yeah.
I know we just recently watched Mobile Suit Gundam, well, the compilation films, but seeing the Xeon uniforms is oddly nostalgic for some reason.
It really was. I don't know, just seeing the ship, it's because the Xeon characters just have a totally different structure to them that is completely different from the Titans and the AU. They're a lot stricter, it looks like they're a lot more orderly, I would say, because the Titans, you see them jumping around like they do kind of whatever they want. You get
Exactly.
Camille and Fa doing whatever they want. But when you go to the Xeon, they're just like all standing at attention, all ready to go. Haman kind of has her grasp on everything that goes on there. And I don't know, it's a little refreshing and kind of cool. I mean, actually, really cool to see.
So the Axis are led by, what was his name? Dozel?
Dozel, yeah.
Yeah. They're led by Dozel's child, Mineva. Although we say they're led by Mineva, but Haman seems to have her claw in there as well.
Yeah. Haman is definitely.
She's pulling the strings, basically.
What is that called?
Huh?
Well, she's puppeteering or wasn't
Yeah.
it the Zabi child?
And it's after we meet Mineva that we see something. We see a new side to Shar this time around.
Ooh, it was very refreshing to see too. He actually gets pretty emotional.
Yeah, both as Shar and as Quattro, we've seen him being calm, collected, like more or less in control, or at least knows what should be done. But this time around, he is throwing outbursts. He's aggressive. He is very angry at Haman for how Mineva has turned out.
He does not like. He does not, absolutely does not like the fact that Haman has been basically very manipulative of Mineva Zabi, and her seeing when he walks up to her, and then how Mineva interacts with them and remembers him and has fond memories of him as like having played with him as when she was a child, and even it's kind of impressive that she even remembers because Shar even he says that She was like 2 years old, so she must have had some kind of impact on him. I mean, she does come off as fairly warm and somewhat affectionate to him just in that moment, and then seeing her acting like a puppet for Haman and saying the things that she did really set Char off. He was emotional. He had his outbursts. He was getting in Haman's face, and it was actually kind of endearing to see it in his character.
So, like you guys said, it was really refreshing to see Char being aggressive, because up till this point, he's really kept his calm and cool self and composed. And when he sees how Haman has kind of been like Minerva's regent and kind of influencing her, it makes him really upset. And we see that flashback and of Char kind of taking care of her. It seems like he was trying to influence her in a positive way, whereas Haman is definitely influencing her in a negative way, kind of preaching the old Xeon ways to her, whereas Char was trying to shove her in a different direction.
I mean, in fairness, it is all the blame falls on Char for leaving, since it is in this part where we also learn that Char was sent down to Earth to be a spy for the Axis.
That was really interesting. I was like, what? Because it was kind of weird how he was with them, I thought, because
it kind of came off just like he had abandoned them.
Yeah, it did. It came off that he was kind of with them from the beginning, like right after he survived his interaction with Amuro, that he formed the AU maybe, but no, it seems like he joined them.
Yeah, I mean, considering the fact that he has killed the main zombie family, I wouldn't think he'd go after the young Minerva.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, it didn't seem like he really wanted to hurt her, which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird, because he was definitely on like some really like revenge driven tirade, and she is a zombie, so.
Well, she is also a zombie that has nothing to really do with anything.
Yeah, at the end of the day, she's kind of just a child.
That's true. But Char gets captured.
Oh, they all get captured.
But it was definitely because Char pointed a gun at Haman and was trying to attack her.
But they have a very, very good plan on how to get out.
They take it away. Kicking Camille's ass. You know, Char just started like, yo, we got. He didn't even tell him his idea, but I mean, I was glad that Camille caught on and just let it happen. We know Camille can take an ass kicking, so you know, oh yeah. So Char just decided to put his fists and legs to the test on Camille, and he let him have it, and the guards just essentially started. At first, they didn't care. They're like, oh, they're just goofing around. And then they were like, oh, shit, we need to get this guy some help. And then they open the door. And then they take advantage of that. And Char and Bright, I think, are able to stick them up. And that's how they're able to get out.
Yeah, Char just books it.
He has his own plan.
He's ready to kill Haman.
Yeah, he really goes rogue. Like during this whole part,
it is reminiscent of the times where he would go after the zombie fam in Mobile Suit Gundam. Like, yeah, like it was his man on a mission stuff again.
Did we ever get a backstory of who Haman was?
No,
I don't remember. So that was. I mean, I'm curious to know who she is, how she became, she came to that position.
So. Hey Mark, doesn't she have like the same name as Rambo Rawl's wife?
You know, now that you mention it, I'm pretty sure that they have the same name.
Huh. I mean, Haman Khan. I don't
know if that was the other woman's name, but it is maybe something to point out that they do have the same name. But I'm pretty sure Haman died, right?
Well, yeah, and also she'd be a whole lot older than Haman is right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Haman Khan, specifically.
Haman Khan the second.
You know, they say Khan, but
it's supposed to be Karn, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's Karn in every other form of media I've seen it being written.
So is this like another Shaw situation?
I don't know. I don't know if they're saying like Khan or Khan.
Well,
I don't think it really matters.
In Japanese, wouldn't the R be an L? Khan?
That's what I thought.
Or is it like a One Piece Zoro thing?
No, it'd be Karn.
Moving on. So Char immediately goes to search for Haman, and he points a gun at her again. And we get a very, very funny line. Haman calls him a traitor. Haman calls him a traitor, and he goes, "That's not true. I've never betrayed anybody in my life. Ever."
Not so. I've never betrayed anyone in my entire life. Ever!
Shaw, you betrayed me?
And
Did you just kill an entire family in revenge and betray? You've never betrayed anyone in your entire life. That was a very funny line, and I don't know why you said that. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you can't really betray somebody you never actually plan to work with.
But he was working with them. He did betray.
Or maybe-
work against
Or
them
maybe he thinks it's not a betrayal if you don't
if he
know
was
about
always
it.
planning on killing them. It's not really betrayal. If that was the plan from the start.
Shaw, you betrayed me? By the way, we have a pretty funny Instagram post about that, and check out our Instagram at Zaku Talku.
Oh, shit to shill.
All right. So Char is unable to do any damage to Haman, and they have to escape and go back into the Argama.
While escaping, we have a few people getting shot. Not fatally, but Ricola gets shot in the arm, and then Opoly gets shot in the leg.
Rekoa's freaking reaction is hilarious. They're like, "Are you all right?" She's like, "It just grazed me. It hit her dead on."
I'm pretty sure the bullet's still in her arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
As the
after
crew's
this interaction-
escaping.
go ahead.
After the crew's escaping, we see Paptimus aboard the Axis ship, and it looks like he's making an alliance with them.
Yeah. So the whole reason they went onto the ship with the Zeons was because they were trying to form some sort of alliance to take out the Titans. But because of Char's recklessness, that whole thing got scrapped, and instead the Titans were able to make a pact with the Zeon.
Ooh, they do. The Argama crew gets attacked outside upon leaving by Yazan again. Right, so upon escaping, they get attacked again by the Titans. By Yazan specifically. I'm expecting one of you guys to come in with the whole Rekoa thing again, because this is the end of her thing.
Oh, okay, all right. So this is where Rekoa gets captured. What exactly happens again? How does she get captured?
She has like a vision, a new type vision. She thinks that Yazan's calling to her, so she kind of just doesn't fight. I mean, she could have taken him out, honestly, because she grabs him with her mobile suit and he's unable to move. But then she ejects out of the cockpit and Yazan grabs her and blows up the mobile suit. So they all think that she's dead, but he flies her back to the Paptimus ship.
And then he gets to work seducing her, which it's gonna work.
Leave it in. Fuck it, leave it in. I stopped caring.
So
everybody takes it pretty hard, and Camille is blaming Char for this.
yeah, because she mentioned that she was looking for somebody to fulfill that little spot in her heart. She thought it was Char, and everyone thought it was Char, but turned out Char he doesn't have time for her.
I mean, Camille did see them smooching.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, if Char kisses somebody, they're dead. It happened with Lala, now with Rekoa.
Well, she's not dead.
Yeah, no. As far as they know, she's dead.
Yeah, I guess so. But now we get on this really part.
Right. So Karuba has found a lab at Kilimanjaro, a real life mountain.
Yeah, it's in Africa. So they're in Africa. There's a Titan base in Mount Kilimanjaro, and Camille and Quattro / Char are sent down.
Hold on. They're supposed to be covering from space. However, they get attacked by Yazan again. And
Yeah.
Yazan it taps the Yakushiki, and it falls down to earth. In fairness, it got caught in gravity, but still was a light tap.
It was pretty silly. Let's be honest.
So Char actually ends up saving him this time.
Camille ends up saving Char.
Camille ends up saving Char, and they are both sent hurtling towards the Earth and end up aiding Karba on the surface of the planet instead of from space, or attempting to aid them. And we do see.
I was about to say the same thing. Just go.
We do see Amuro again, which is cool, in his ridiculous-looking Deja mobile suit.
Boy, it is so out of place.
It's so ugly.
The thing looks like a fish, but it's fighting in the mountains while mostly fighting in the air.
Yeah, it looks like something out of G Gundam, honestly. But I mean, it is cool to see Amuro again, and he definitely is still, an ace mobile suit pilot.
So while there, Char pretty much takes over the operation, and Amuro is pretty fine with it. His only objection seems to be that Char is kind of underestimating their force. But other than that, their relationship seems pretty civil.
Yeah. And so Camille and Char are about to jump into the battle, kind of sneak attacking. But then we see the Psycho Gundam again, and it throws their plan into a loop because, for one, that thing's powerful and they don't want to get into a conflict with it. And for two, Camille is thrown into like mental distress because he knows that 4 piloted that thing, and he wonders who's piloting it because he can't sense that 4 is inside of it. So they go on a mission to figure out what's going on within the base.
No, I want to be honest. I was not expecting the Psycho Gundam.
I was not either. I thought it blew up in the ship. I mean, I thought 4 lived, like I said in the last part, but I did not think the Psycho Gundam made it out.
So they
Well,
kind of
anyway.
just end up strolling through the enemy base.
Well, does Camille get sent in to investigate, or does he kind of just jump in?
No, Char actually tells him to stay behind and watch the mobile suits, which was a smart idea, but Camille being
The brat
kind of dumb.
he is.
Yeah.
He's a
decides,
bad
No, I
mode.
want to go too. Yeah, they end up going in. They're taking a stroll around the enemy base. It's kind of casual and it's kind of silly, and just how they're just walking through there, just dilly-dallying. And then they see somebody, don't they?
They
Yeah,
see the founder, Jamatov, who's there.
Yeah.
And they begin chasing him, but they end up.
Yeah, they almost take him out, except he uses a meat shield.
Yeah.
And then they end up in some room where and it's silly how this happens, but they end up in that room. They're looking at the guy like through that window that he's on the other side of, and someone happens to just casually wake up from a nap in the background, and in that room where Shah and Camille happen to just end up in, and you see that it is dun, 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 it's 4. It's pretty silly. She just wakes up in the background.
Yeah, and she pays no attention to Camille and Char. She just starts walking.
Well, we do see her previously being like electrocuted, and I think they're trying to get her to control the Psycho Gundam without actually being inside of it. So yeah, she seems kind of dazed when Camille and Char are in the room, or in sort of trance.
Shah was like ready to smoke her, I think, wasn't he?
Char was gonna kill her. And she just like walks out of the room, stretches, and they follow her.
They do end up escaping though, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
They go back out on the battlefield. And then Camille just can't stop thinking about 4. So after the battle ends, Camille heads back into the base where Forrest's taking a bath, and
he just sneaks in like no security, no nothing. He just waltzes in again.
Doesn't he drive a car up to the...
No, he has like this weird jetpack plane thing. He just flies
I
up.
tell you, the security at these Titan facilities are horrible.
I mean, they are at the top of a mountain.
And yeah, but I mean that's holding their top leader, and Camille just walks in.
Well, I think John Top already left.
Well, the base was holding their top leader.
All right. Anyways, upon going in, 4, as Mark mentioned, she's taking a bath, and then she feels Camille.
Not while she's in the bath. Well, I mean, yes, while she's in the bath, but not like... she has these senses. Not those kind of senses. She's like the cyber new type senses. Let's clarify.
A new type in general. They have that weird psychic power too.
Anyway, she's feeling Camille in her head. And then she gets up. She walks around.
She does get dressed. She does get dressed.
Yes, she gets dressed. That's important. Let's see. And then Camille just happens to run into her casually.
And then they do this.
She remembers him this time. Yeah.
I thought he was seeing everything in his head, because they do like this weird sequence where they're like run at each other, and it just didn't look like it was actually happening. It looked like it was one of those like new type vision things,
like a shoujo type of thing.
Well, it looked like kind of what happened with Amuro and Lala when they were doing that weird sequence in space right before she dies. But yeah, I mean, so they meet up again, and this time around 4 seems like she's completely normal, back to her old self.
Yeah, she's all.
Yeah, she even like invites Camille for a beer or a juice.
We also notice a gun in the fridge.
Yeah, she's packing some heat in the fridge.
She's ready to go out every time.
She's strapped and ready, dude. She was ready to take out Camille right there, but then she kind of thought about it, and she instead of deciding to serve him with a bullet, she does end up giving him a drink, and that's where she starts to have like some kind of aneurysm or something, or just like her head starts hurting, and she needs like her medicines. But more on the moment with them, they're having like some pretty decent interactions right there. They're all happy. Yeah. She like tells him, she's like, "I love you," and she straight up does tell him that she loves Camille. So we can see why he was so hung up on her. He was really feeling her too. But then she gets that whole thing with her head hurting. She ends up needing some medicine, and then they go down the hall, and then while they're on their way to go get the medicine, Jared, out of nowhere, he just opens some door, and you see him, and he happens to see them. I don't even know if he really, like, kind of thought that was Camille, but he starts creeping on them, and he's like following them everywhere, and they get to a room with the doctor. That's, I think it was the doctor or whoever is the handler for 4, and then she's trying to give her the medicine, but then realizes that Camille is, he's the pilot of the AUG, or they're one of their pilots, their more formidable pilot, and so she kind of starts the trip right there. Camille starts asking questions, and she reveals that they're trying to create cyber new types to compete with the naturally born new types. That was a big piece of information.
And if we could just mention real quick, if anyone in this whole series has plot armor, it's Jared.
Yeah, absolutely.
The man had a broken leg and fell off a mountain and survived.
We haven't even gone to the whole judo throw yet.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's got massive plot armor.
Well, Jared, he gets kicked. He gets held up by Camille at gunpoint, and then later on, Well, go ahead and say what you're gonna say, Garcelle.
I was just gonna bring up that he's pretty much been everywhere Camille has, and it's almost been out of just coincidence that they're in the same area. Like, for what reason is he at Kilimanjaro at all?
He was being treated. Remember, Camille?
Why? How is it that specifically Kilimanjaro, the place that is currently being attacked, and Camille just happens to have landed? How does Jared, of all people, show up there?
Antagonist armor.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a little tired of Jared.
I'm telling you, he's gonna die soon. He's pushing it with the plot armor, and then something that I just kind of wanted to bring up of my own accord. This is the episode where, dude, Camille is just like literally kicking people left and right. He kicks the rando when they get to the room, and then he kicks Jared, and then he judo flips him off the mountain.
So first off, he kicks Jared, who currently has a gun, and then judo throws him right off a mountain.
We've already seen guns are the most ineffective weapon in all of Gundam.
And feet are probably the best disarming device.
Dude, they work. They're like one hit knockouts every time. Camille has knocked out everybody that he's kicked.
Well, anyway, so Jared gets judo thrown off a mountain, and somehow he survives, then ends up piloting a prototype mobile armor.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, actually.
Yeah,
claws.
Even not completed, it does look cool the way it is.
Yeah, I like how he just steals it, and the engineer's like, "It's not right."
If it can fly, it's ready. It is also in this part where we do see that 4 is able to control the Psycho Gundam with just her mind. As she
4 goes into combat mode and gets wild.
And Camille is also, once again, trying not to actually fight her. He's really just focusing on saving her and making sure that everybody else knows that he wants to save her. And we also see that Amuro's concerned again because he doesn't want the same thing to happen with him and Char and Lala to happen to Camille.
However, that fate has to play out again. So in between Camille trying to save 4, she's flipping in and out of her berserker state and her clear mind. And during one of those clear minds, she notices that Jared is attacking Camille and pushes Camille out of the way and takes a saber right to the face.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And then
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, then Amuro sees that happen and then goes on to state, "Oh, it's just just the same as before with what happens."
So we see. So obviously Camille is extremely distraught at this point, and he's sitting there sobbing over Forest Court and can't believe what happened. But the whole mountain is exploding, so they have to get out of there. And Char kind of
just picks him up.
And it was a really cool scene, though, how when Char's picking him up, we just see Camille holding 4.
And once they get back to base, he's pretty much carrying her away. And he turns to Char and pretty much just says, "I'm never calling you Quattro again. From now on, you're Char."
So rest in peace, Lieutenant Quattro Bagino. You are now Char for good.
Char does agree. He pretty much says, "Yeah, Now's the time.
So
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know what I was going to say.
after this conflict, we transition to a
Wait.
new base.
Quick thing before we completely move out of this.
What?
So 4's Psycho Gundam got stabbed in the head, but she didn't take any damage. What is it because she's so psychically linked to that thing that it caused her head to hurt so much that she died from it? Or, I was kind of curious at how she just died off of her Gundam basically taking the damage.
It is true because the cockpit isn't in the head like with the Xeon. I would assume that it is just the Psycho Gundam psychic link with the pilot. Mark, you know better. What do you think?
I do not know about this,
So-
but
It's just one of those moments that I felt like I kind of had to question what exactly happened because
that's a good question.
yeah, she
played
just
off
kind of
the-
suddenly died.
But the show must go on, and we move to a new region called Dakar, I think. And this is kind of where there's a meeting. With
There's
a
assembly
lot
of stations going on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of publicity there, and they're deciding on some important actions, I guess, aligning with the Titans. And we see Beltachika again.
Yeah, she's back. So
So she gets pulled. Go ahead.
So she's currently disguised as a reporter, and the first time we see her, she's driving a jeep, and she gets stopped by some guards.
Some guy cops a feel.
Oh yeah, he does. He
Oh, God.
he grabs a handful. Like this
Completely.
guy has no shame. He just goes in. He's like, hey, he's like, let me help you with that, and he's like putting something in her breast pocket, but he just goes in for the grope, and it's pretty messed up.
It is. It's so weird to see this stuff because it happens multiple times. Like just how times have changed and how this probably would not be in shows nowadays. But
It would be just to show that a character is a complete scumbag.
yeah. Well, it's weird that Beltachika kind of shrugs it off a little bit.
I would assume she's used to it.
Yeah, but some other Alpha Titan comes in and
Yeah, Lieutenant Odessa, I believe was his name.
yeah,
Kind of
he
just
puts a stop to that.
kind of comes in, just punches them.
Yeah, he was cool.
One of the guards was about to throw down too, but
He was
the
about
other
to
one-
cap him right there.
Yeah, the other guard noticed the Titan uniform. Was like, "Oh, dude, don't do
Yeah,
it."
he's like, are you fucking crazy? That guy's a Titan. He's like, oh yeah, sorry.
So
Right, so Tachika goes ahead and gives them a lift to a base, one of their bases. They talk a little bit here and there, and she mentions to watch the assembly when he has time.
yeah, so she goes in and I guess her and Char infiltrate with a couple other AU members the assembly and take it over. And their goal here is to broadcast to the world that the Titans are not who they say they are and that they're actually more of a cruel organization than someone who's going to help them.
Yeah, during this whole thing, upon them entering the Dakar assembly, Camille and a few of the others are just outside, just flying around, and the Titans are just straight up attacking them.
In the city, but we clearly see that Camille and the other AU members are intentionally holding back and not firing because they don't want to damage the city, and it also makes the Titans look that much worse.
Yeah, because Beltachika is managing to catch a lot of the damage on camera, and everybody on the assembly is seeing it.
Yeah, and we find out that the new Titan member we see is actually pretty cool, and he sees how the Titans are treating the other people, and he makes an active effort to help out the AU when the Titans do something reckless or ruthless, like shooting down one of their own ships. It's going to hit a bunch of buildings, but he goes in and grabs it, and with the help of Camille, pulls it out of the way so that it doesn't crash. And he also prevents Camille from getting killed.
Yeah. Oh, but he doesn't.
And he
stop
saved the
Jared.
broadcast.
Well, he doesn't stop Jared from shooting at the assembly.
Yeah, but then that just makes it look better for the AU
Well,
because
yeah,
it shows how much, how messed up the Titans are.
Yeah, and the Titans are basically forced to retreat after they take notice that they're being broadcast.
Yeah, they're just outed for the assholes that they are, and so they just take that L and retreat.
And then we get a little celebration with Amuro and Char, and also Camille makes amends with Beltachika for the way that he treated her a little bit.
Which that
Kinda.
is nice. It is nice that they're somewhat amicable now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very refreshing to see, especially how self-centered she came off before and how harsh Camille was with her before. So it's something that's definitely, you can appreciate. And the whole interaction between Char and Amuro was really nice. It was
It
like a
felt,
good bromance moment.
yeah, it felt like just two old friends just hanging back, which I will say is kind of weird.
Yeah, because they were definitely
They were
portrayed
trying
as
to kill
enemies.
each other. They were trying to kill each other during the last series, and now they're fairly civil to each other. Almost
And we also
friendship.
find out the reason why Shar didn't want to become the leader of the AU, because it was kind of a selfish reason. He didn't want to dedicate his entire life to the cause, but Amuro tells him that it's what needs to be done. The AU needs a leader, and that people have to sacrifice things.
Which is true, because Shard he didn't necessarily feel like he was sacrificing a lot whenever it came to certain things that he was doing. He kind of just felt like he was a character that got off with whatever he wanted scot-free, and he didn't get tied down to anything. And this is kind of the first thing that really has him being tied down, and something that he's kind of passionate about helping now. So that's cool. Oh, and also right before that, at the beginning of this episode, Camille and Amuro have a talk about Ford's death, and I kind of like that. I appreciated it. It showed Camille for being the different character that he is in comparison to like Amuro and Char, and how he took the death. Um, Amuro says that Camille is doing a lot better than he did and Char did when it came to Lala's death. That Camille was handling it basically like a champ and making good strides to get over it. And Amuro really does commend him for that. It's something that we kind of see that Camille is a little bit of a stronger character than Amuro. I don't mean like isn't better developed or necessarily anything like that, but just more like a push comes to shove and move on type of character. Emotionally stable, I guess. But
And
yeah.
that is where our watch through ends for this. I don't know what I was going to say.
Well, that's where we hit, and that was episode 37. And overall, what did you guys think about like these batch of episodes? Like again, like your opinion. Like how much of it did you like? How much of it did you not like? All right, guys. So now that we're in the last part, we're in the home stretch of ending Zeta Gundam. What are your expectations? What kind of things are you looking forward to in this last part? And how do you feel going into it? Mostly positive, somewhat negative.
Well, I'm assuming a final battle with either Poptimus or Jamatov.
Jamatov's dead. Oh,
No,
Jamaicon's
Jamicon
dead.
is dead. Jamatov's the founder.
Well, we still haven't seen Basque.
There we go. I was gonna bring that one up.
I'm really surprised we haven't seen anything of Basque. He was like the main bad guy. He seemed like the main bad guy when it came to the first part, but then we have not seen him at all.
I thought it was gonna be like some kind of satisfying thing, like, oh, we'll finally see Bass get his. But at this point, I don't even care about him anymore.
No, I don't care
After
about
Basque,
Basque at
he
all.
just kept getting new and new villains. And we kind of
Yeah,
forgot
each
about
one
it.
of them just trying to out the other, biting the dust, getting shot, getting killed, or plotting something of their own. You got Cactumus Sirocco just being a creeper and trying to ruin everything for everyone. You got Yazan just, betraying people and plotting his own things. And I don't know, it's just kind of, in terms of antagonists, it's kind of all over the place in my opinion. If I'm honest.
Yeah, there's a little bit too many villains.
It was gonna be funny if Basque is dead and we just never noticed.
He's not dead.
Are you sure? Part of
Yes.
me just wants to look it up.
No,
Don't do
he's
it.
not dead.
Well, like I said, Rekoa is gonna come back. She's gonna defect.
Don't.
She's gonna be seduced by the.
Like
She's gonna be feeling the dark side. She's gonna join the.
All right, guys. So that wraps up this watch through of Zeta Gundam. That was episode 26 to 37. And next time we will be concluding our watch through of Zeta Gundam. So stay tuned there.